Once, I had no voice. Or shall I say, I had a very small voice. It reached to the back of my classroom, sometimes across my school district. I had ideas worth spreading, but nobody could hear them. I'm a teacher, and I've heard people say that to teach is to change the world one child at a time. That's a really nice saying. But despite my good relationships with most of my students, I've never really felt like I was changing the world. And then a couple of years ago, I was named the Montana Teacher of the Year. They say this is the highest honor a teacher can receive in our state. Suddenly, I was attending National Teacher of the Year events, and we were taught many things. One thing that we learned was how to announce ourselves properly. My name is Anna Baldwin, and I am the 2014 Montana Teacher of the Year. We had to practice that over and over again. You might think there was some glamour involved, and there was. In particular, this moment of me with Dr. Jill Biden in her living room, and this moment of my children taking selfies with Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan, and this moment. I was attending conferences, I was writing blogs, I was recording podcasts, I visited the White House. It was a wonderful year. But I have to tell you, I felt a little like an imposter. I didn't know how to buy a suit. I didn't know how to walk in high heels. I didn't know the difference between business formal and business casual. I didn't have business cards because what teacher has business cards? I had a lot to learn. But I'm so glad I went through this year of learning. One of the things that happens when you become Teacher of the Year is everyone wants to know, what are your thoughts about school things? And it turns out I have a lot of thoughts about school things. So I learned to use my voice to share those. And I'm going to share a few of those with you today. First, the way that education has been politicized is a travesty. There are legislators in our state capitol right now making decisions that affect me and my classroom directly, even though most of them have never been teachers. From the standards I use to guide my teaching, to the salary I earn when I teach online, to whether a student who brings a gun to school should be expelled. They rarely consult teachers on these matters, even though we're the ones who know what's best for our students and know our classrooms and know our communities. I think that if teachers can collectively use our voices to push back against the bad decisions and promote the good ones, we can change the education world. Number two, I believe that public school teachers are servants of their communities. I'll say that again. Teachers serve their students and families where they teach. We have the knowledge and the understanding, but so many teachers believe that their opinions and their beliefs are the bottom line, and I think it's the other way around. I think that's especially important for white teachers in Indian communities like me. For this reason, I have tried very hard to bring in Native perspectives, tribal voices, local authors, and accurate historical and contemporary information, because I think if we can alter the narrative around Indian communities, we can help change the world for those communities. So, educators need to be involved in conversations about education, and teachers serve their communities. Third, I believe that teachers can be change agents for their students. Over the years, I have received many thank you cards. Thank you for teaching me to write. Thank you for preparing me for college, and those are wonderful. But even more powerful are the moments when I know that I've made a difference for the students right then. For example, I had a student who was a senior, brightest in her class, and I asked her, where are you going to go to college next year? She said, I'm not going to college. I can't afford it. I said, honey, nobody can afford college. We have to find other ways. So I called the admissions office of the university, and their deputy director offered to drive to my high school and have a private meeting with that student. They got her paperwork done, and off she went. Or how about the 20-year-old with a toddler who made the noble promise to herself that she would graduate with a high school diploma. But ironically, that promise was getting in the way of her own progress because she couldn't finish the classes with her toddler. So I went against what I normally say, my intuition, and I said, you need to just get your GED. And then I enrolled her in a summer college credit-bearing course. Now, a dozen years later, the toddler is a student in my high school, and she is finishing her degree. Now, she credits me with some of that for helping her make that tough decision. But I believe that if those students can reach their own goals, they're going to be able to change the world for themselves. So what have I learned? I learned that teachers need to use our voices loudly sometimes, like when we're talking to the legislature, and quietly sometimes when we're listening to our communities. And sometimes we need to lift our voices in advocacy. Because when we can use our voices well, we can help change the world.